Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Friday night and it's 9 p.m. and we are back here on
How to Ace Your Career.
So, guys, like you all know, we come here every Friday night at 9 p.m. to help you ace your career. Of course, this has to be relevant to everyone who's attending, but what do we specialize in? So, I'm Nutan, I'm a career and a life coach, and I especially work for mid-age people with 12 to 15 plus years of experience. And when they are going through stagnation in their career, stagnation could be the promotion they are expecting is not happening, or probably they have been in the company for a very long time. They were happy for the past few years, but now they feel the juniors are surpassing them and they want to move on. Of course, it's very difficult if you've been in the organization for 10 plus years and now you want to make a shift. So that's the reason they come to us. Or probably they're not really enjoying the work-life balance. They feel it's getting too much and they are so stressed that it's affecting their health. That's the time they come to change their jobs. But there are some people who say, I've been doing this, I've made the money, but I want to do something which I love to do. They're something which I'm really truly passionate about. And they come to us for career transitions. Very few people do come to discover their purpose or a career which will really make them feel fulfilled. But these are the challenges that people come to us, and we have been able to coach them successfully, and it's really been a wonderful journey. That's about me. And
Hey, hi, I'm Dheeraj. I'm a career coach, business coach, and a relationship coach. And both of us together, we put this company called it ND Life Coaching.
So today, to start with, like I promised, this year we're going to every month we'll share one book which is really important for you to grow in your professional life. So last session we did this, and today is going to be the concluding episode of the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, and we are going to conclude on how you can really grow by using this book. So did you attend the last session on Atomic Habits? And for all those who have joined us, I would really want to know in the comment section that you did attend this. If not, then I would like to really tell you that in the last session we spoke about the change in identity. Identity-based habits really last long. So if you have to shift your identity, you have to do it because only then you can make some long-term behavioral changes.
So, there's a beautiful thing that I would like to talk to you about. Rather, I think she should be talking because this is something that she did. Okay, and something really amazing she's done. So I would request her to talk about this.
So, I would like to really explain this shift in identity and how does it bring in long-term habits. So we just returned back from a beautiful trip to Bali. It really turned out to be one of the most memorable trips that I've had in these past years. If you ask me why, there was something special that happened in this trip. We did a lot of adventure activities. So it was parasailing, it was jet ski, it was snorkeling, it was an ATV ride. But the most important one was...
It was also river rafting.
Absolutely.
Don't forget. Oh my
Yes.
God.
So the river rafting, when that happened, that night when we returned back from river rafting, I was sitting and talking to Dheeraj, recollecting 11 years back, when physically I was so bad that I couldn't climb the stairs to my flat, which was just on the first floor. It was actually not even first floor because it's an old construction. It had hardly 8 to 9 steps. But to walk those 9 steps, I would hold the railing in the side and I would walk sideways. That bad would be my knee pain and my heel pain. I, of course, didn't want to live like that. So the first change that I made was the footwear, which now we all use it quite regularly, which really makes your feet comfortable rather than how good it looks and whether it's really attached to my costume that I'm wearing, which of course brought some relief. But what brought the real shift was my identity. I wanted to be absolutely physically fit, means not reduction in the weight, not that zero figure. I wanted to be strong physically so that I can do all what I want and have the energy to the last minute of the day, not start feeling drained by the evening. Now, how many of you listening to us right now can say that, you start feeling drained by evening or late evening, or especially when you return back from work, that you want to just lie on the sofa and tell your spouse or your children that just don't bother me.
In fact, one of my clients today, we are planning to do a business, and I asked him, what are your internal challenges? He said, this one of the biggest internal challenges that I'm facing is I lack energy. I like that life force. By the time it's evening, I'm done. So he started feeling physically completely drained. And that's what is one of the biggest challenge that people are facing today.
So I didn't want that. I wanted energy that if I'm working till 2 in the night, I'm still active and I'm absolutely out there live. And that is why I started building habits around that identity. This required two important things. One was shift in food habits, and second was exercises. It's been more than 11 years now that we both have not missed a day to follow this routine. We are very clear and specific. We only move out and have one cheat day, that's Sunday dinner. Otherwise, if there is occasion, friend's birthday, that's the time we don't look at our diet, but otherwise we follow a very serious, regular, simple food that we can manage having throughout our lives. So what happened 11 years later when I could do this? I had to climb down 1200 steps to go down to the point where we had to take this boat for rafting. And this rafting was not for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or 30 minutes. It was for 2 hours. And after rowing the boat for 2 hours, then we had to climb back around 400 to 500 steps. I don't remember them correctly, but I could do all of this, climbing down, rafting, going back up, and I could do all of that without any pain in my knee, in my heel, or any part of the body from head to toe. Doing all these adventures successfully has really made this trip so beautiful. We fought our fears, but especially, that stage that we didn't come back with any kind of muscle pull or nowhere where snorkeling. I was holding one hand on the stair which was provided down, holding the boat, but nowhere I felt that something has gone wrong. So that one shift, and I feel I'm more stronger and energetic than I was 11 years back. So I feel I'm actually reversing my age in terms of my physical strength and my energy.
So are you guys missing something in your life? Is what you need to, I want all of you to think about it now. Do you need it that bad as what she felt 10 years back? And are you struggling because you have not been able to make those changes? Because what I see today, the quality of her life and even my life because of that is become so amazing that at this age, like all the, I think, activities that we did, Bali is basically for a lot of honeymoon couples, they come there. So I could see people at 25 to 30 max. And we in our 50s, we were very few who were doing this so excitedly, and not even once that when they came back, they were tired, fatigued, and they were saying, "Arey yaar, ye dukh raha hai, wo dukh raha hai." But we were all absolutely excited because that's how we realized that all these 10, 12 years, or rather for me, 15, 20 years of exercise that I've done, I could actually do everything without any pain in my body.
So what is that you're really missing in your life? And that is because you've not really been able to make that shift. So now is the time to make that shift in your identity. It could be related to your career as a professional. It could be related to your family life as a father, as a mother, as a sister, as a brother, as probably a sibling. What is that you're missing in your family life where you need the shift, or missing in your health? Something, or probably missing in your finances. What is that identity which has not helped you and you're unhappy in that area of your life? Once you shift that identity, then what you need to do, like we did, you need to cultivate some habits around it.
Yep.
Like for me, or for both of us, it was shift in our food habits and exercise regime. We will now really deep dive into how to form these habits. So last session was about that identity. This time we are going to teach you how to really form these habits based on this book, Atomic Habits. So Mr. James divides this process of building habit into 4 simple steps. This 4-step pattern is the backbone of every habit which we already have. Good or bad, both follow the same pattern. And your brain runs through these steps in the same order each time. What is the first one?
It's Q. Okay, so CUE. The Q triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. It's a bit of information that predicts a
Reward.
reward. And your mind is continuously analyzing your internal and external environment for hits or where rewards are located.
The second is craving. Craving is a motivational force behind every habit with some level of motivation or desire. Without craving for change, we have no reason to act. What you crave is not the habit, but the change in the state that it delivers. For example, when you feel that you're craving to smoke a cigarette, you're actually not craving for a cigarette, but you're craving for the feeling of relief that it provides. So that's the second part of the four-step process to form a habit. The third one is
Response. Now, this is the actual habit you perform, the actual action that you take, which can take the form of thought or action. Now, the response may depend on your motivation level. Of course, like she was so motivated, we were so motivated. That's why we kept doing exercise for so many years. And the friction associated with the behavior. Response also depends on your ability. A habit can occur only if you are capable of doing it.
the fourth one, of course, is a reward. Response delivers a reward at the end goal of every habit. So, like these habits that we cultivated today, the reward is that 11 years down the line, I'm more younger than what I was in my 40s, and I'm thoroughly enjoying my life. Today, when I have the means, my health is also supporting me. So many times it happens that you have all the provision, you worked hard in your life, the finances are there, but your health is not supporting you. So if you're in this mid age, then really take care of your health, because that's going to be the basis, the foundation of your next 40 years of life. Now, the craving is, of course, about wanting the reward. The response is about obtaining the reward. We chase these rewards because they serve us two purposes. First, they satisfy us. So it's like you feel so content. For example, you're exhausted, Friday night, you work very hard, you're watching a movie, and there comes the ice cream tub and you finish it, right? So that craving is something, that satisfaction that comes after eating that ice cream or probably some dessert. The second part is it teaches us that these actions are worth remembering in the future. So, the minute the brain feels rewarded, it wants to repeat that action. And that's how we start making habits. So, how does habit become irresistible? Here are certain examples.
Like, for example, high value of sugar or salt. Now, the brain starts wanting it more. Like, there are some people who need it every single day because, you eat it at once. Like, I don't know how many of you eat chips or Cheetos. Once you crunch that potato chip, it doesn't stop
I
there.
can still remember.
You just doesn't stop there. You want, and then you finish the whole. Like my son, every Saturday night he finishes two packet of Lace because he can't control that. Or a fizz in a soda sensation drive, like Coke, Thumbs Up. What is that? That fizz that when you drink. So make it attractive and habit will become irresistible.
So stimulus is more enticing and rewarding, but the stimulus is more important than the reward. And that's why the reward becomes more exciting. We all have a brain of our ancestors. We were living in the cave age till today. The brain is still the same. But the temptations are much more than our ancestors had to face. And that is where comes the role of dopamine. What is dopamine? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter for habit formation. A desire or a craving is the motivation beneath every habit. So habits which are dopamine driven are feedback loop. For example, he just mentioned eating junk food, browsing social media, playing video games, watching porn movies. Dopamine is released not only when you experience pleasure, but also when you anticipate it. When I read this for the first time in the book, I just could visualize a dog when his tongue is out, and he does when he can see that food. It's not different for human beings. We just feel it within. We're just not throwing our tongue out and making everyone aware that we are actually getting excited. So dopamine is released not only when you experience a pleasure, but also when you anticipate it. And this anticipation of reward, not the fulfilling, that gets to take us action. So if something which is really pleasurable, we go out there and take an action. Anticipation of an experience is more fulfilling than attaining it. It is the difference between wanting and liking. So for example, when we were thinking about which destination to go, and we looked at Bali and all the activities that I saw which we could do, that 1 month when we were planning this, and then we bought new clothes which will fit because most of them were water activities. So all this anticipation was even more greater than actually doing it. That is what it says, that anticipation of an experience is actually more fulfilling than attaining it. And what is the engine that drives that? It's of course desire. That is what makes habits more attractive.
Okay, so let's come to the cue triggers a craving. Okay,
It's the cue. That's the first
thing. Then what motivates a response? So you need some motivation so that you will take that response. Okay, now when you take an action, naturally it provides you with a reward which satisfies a craving and ultimately becomes associated with the cue, which means you want it again.
So, for example, when Dheeraj was talking about this lace chip, if you're crossing a grocery shop and you see something out there, and that has already triggered in the brain because the cue is there, you see the lace packet, you will end up buying. And that is why if you see in most of the malls, near the billing counter, you'll have certain things placed. You may not be wanting to buy that, but the minute the brain notices that, you just pick it up and you add that to the list of things that you've already bought in the bag and you buy it. So it's again a human behavior pattern which people in the shopping mall use for you to buy something additional. So together these 4 steps form a neurological feedback loop known as habit loop. What are these 4 laws of behavior change? Because these provide a very simple set of rules for creating good habits, or the same thing can be used for breaking the bad ones. When the levers are in the right position, you can create a good habit. When they are in the wrong position, it's absolutely nearly impossible. So how do you create a good habit?
Simple. First law, cue. Make it obvious.
So like I said, you're going to the billing counter, you can see it, you'll go and buy it.
Second law, craving. Make it attractive.
So the crunch in the potato chips makes it more attractive.
Third, response. Make it easy.
It's easily available, so I go and pick it up every time.
And fourth, make it rewarding. Make it really satisfying. So after eating, you feel like, like those people who drink coffee or who smoke or who eat ice creams and all, who eat sweet. Once you eat it, it feels maza aa gaya.
I think one more example I can just remember when we are going through these 4 things. Maggie.
Yes.
I think all of us can, that yellow color with the red color written anywhere. It may be something else, but it just relates to Maggie. And once you see it, you want to have it.
You can't resist. I think in our house, our son in 20 and my mother-in-law almost, she and I in our 50 and my mother-in-law almost 80. All 3 of us, when it comes to Maggie, we don't want to eat anything. We just wait that, the night when the cook doesn't come. So then we say, okay,
now it's a great time
to have Maggie. So I'm sure all of you, how many of you, please put in the chat box here, how many of you love Maggie? How many of you cannot resist Maggie?
Now we can invert these laws to learn how to break a bad habit. So obviously, the first one is inversion of the first law, cue, which means make it invisible. So something which you don't want, ensure that it is kept so far off that you cannot see it every single day. Second one, of course, is
make it unattractive.
So I remember this session which Tony had done, and he created that image in that person's who was addicted to eating pizza.
Pizza, absolutely.
You know what happens in your gut if that pizza is there and it is not got digested. And when he spoke of all of that and that guy could visualize it, I'm sure he would have never ever had a pizza.
Actually, he gave up eating pizza.
Yes.
When he saw what happens of the pizza when it's kept, first he showed what happens with the pizza by keeping it outside, and then he showed what happens inside of the pizza. He gave up because it was so unattractive. Third law, make it difficult. If you want to break a bad habit, make it difficult.
So your action should be very, very difficult to take. And of course, the fourth law, make it very unsatisfying. So for example, if your phone is your distraction, you lose track of time scrolling. The first thing that you can do is delete all the apps. If the WhatsApp notification is distracting you, then mute your notification. Now ensure that you keep your phone as far as possible. Probably when you're working from home, keep it in the next room. Reach out to your phone only when you want to make calls or send messages. Even if that means you have to get up in the middle of your work, walking to the next room will make it difficult for you to look at it every minute. And you have to walk to the next room to pick up your phone. So it will give your body the needed shift in the posture. So it will really, really work for you.
Similarly, if it's a person you want to cut off from your life, I'm sure all of us have such persons. Many of time we have a lot of persons, but let's say 1 or 2%. What do you need to do? Since the relationship is just draining or draining out your entire energy, there are some people who are toxic and they make your life miserable. Then just do exactly the same step. Block him or her from all your social platforms, all of them. Phone contact. Get out from the circle where that person can walk in, and you will find it easier to step out of that relation. So whenever you want to change your behavior, you can simply ask yourself. Like for example, I can give my example. How can I make it obvious?
So the first thing, Q, how can I make it obvious?
So when I wanted to study a lot for becoming a coach, it was a lot, okay? And I'm not a good guy in studies. I never was so keen about studies. My highest is 42%, so you can understand. So what did I do? I decided to read at least one book every month. I had this pasted on the mirror in my bathroom, which obviously I saw first thing in the morning. And each time when I went to the bathroom throughout the day, still had books all over then what did I do? I had books all over the place. Whenever I got the free time, I would reach out to how can I make it attractive? That's obvious, okay? That was the first thing. So I prepared that and it became obvious. Now attractive. I choose books on the topic that interested me, which could add value to my clients, which was very, very crucial for me. Because that's something, giving is what is my identity. So I wanted to give them the best. So that's why I choose those books. Now, how can I make it easy? I had that book all over my house. It was in every room. It was in my car. It was in my bathroom. It was in my travel kit. Hence, could read it whenever I had my free time. So the moment I had my free time, I used to pick up and start reading. How can I make it satisfying? I would share that in my next session. And as it would help my client, they would thank me and it made me feel good. I ended up that year reading 50 books in that year, and the journey still continues. Now, probably easily 100 and 150 books is what I read every year. That's how I started forming this habit of reading book.
So, I think probably in his entire, what is our career life, study life? So I
20.
think 12 and 2, 17. That's it, right? 20 years.
20
right?
years almost.
Yeah. So all those years, I'm sure he didn't read 50 books, which he could manage in just 1 year.
Yeah.
That's the great thing of first changing a shift in identity. So he wanted to be a great coach and then building habits around that. So that's about building a good habit or cutting off from your bad habits. Now, the next thing which we would highlight from the book is the role of family and friends in shaping your habits. Humans are herd animals. They are not alone. They believe that lone dies, but packs survive. We imitate the behavior from beginning from our family and friends without thinking, because everyone wants to belong. Isn't it true? Each and every one of us wants to belong. So behaviors are truly attractive when they fit into 3 groups. The first one is
close group, which means your close people. So imitating the close. Like in our case, I am the person who is very healthy, or rather, I've been always a sports person. So fitness has been very important. So proximity, the closer we are to someone, closer the chance to pick up their habits. Friends, families become peer pressure and you follow it. Like for example, I started doing it, so she also followed, and that's how now it's been so many years that we are doing it together. Qualities and practices rub with each other. Like she's very good in reading, so being with her, I also got into that reading habit. Change becomes more appealing when people like you are changing or following these habits. We both want to be physically, mentally, emotionally healthy and fit. So that's why we are enough for each other for everything.
So that means you have to choose whom are you surrounded with. Are they really following that habits? Otherwise, you really need to pick up someone, create a buddy who can do what you are actually wanting to do. Then the second one is I versus we shared identity. Many. So we all know, like for example, if you walk into a church or you walk into a place where there is no noise, absolute silence, you by default start whispering to each other because you don't want to create some nuisance for many people. So we by default start imitating the many, the group which uh, we feel are like us. So whenever we are unsure that whether I should do this or no, we are looking at a group to guide our behavior. For example, you go to Amazon, you're looking at something and you're not sure of the product. It's the first time. What do? You go and check the reviews. The minute you're comfortable with the review, you go and buy it. And this is what Amazon knows. That is where this option of reviews started coming in. Similarly, we both have had that, people who reached out to us through LinkedIn actually went through recommendations on our page. And when they found that someone in their known circle had got coached from us, it became so easy for them to take this decision. So I versus we identity.
Then powerful, okay, which means imitating the powerful. Like, someone who is more attractive, stand out in the crowd. Thus, we pick up habits of extremely successful and powerful people. What will other things of me? Social influences. Like for us, it's our role model, Tony Robbins. We want to become like, he's so powerful. Like he just takes us to the different level. So that's why we are following him, his habits, all his habits. From morning to night, we are following his habit, so that, like, to such an extent, the way he speaks, the energy, the light was everything. We do every damn thing. Like even in that bike that I had to ride for almost 1.5 hours. It was only a 5 feet road. This side there was a what do you call it as how do I put it? It was mud everywhere, and this side we were something that I would have run. 86% people were falling. I was only focusing on the road rather than focusing where I will fall. That's what Tony taught me. And that's why not even once I ever fall down, and I enjoyed it. So the role model, a powerful guy, and his habit is something we have inculcated to be who I am.
So if you want to create some good habits, this is other thing that you can do. First, choose someone who's close to you who can help you follow this habit. Second, choose your friend. So for example, for us, our friend circle also has the same lifestyle. They have the similar kind of desires. And that is why as a group also we fit into the good lifestyle that we both have been wanting to have. And of course, Tony Robbins, our role model. So basically, if you want to cultivate new habits, if you feel that you're unhappy in your career and you want to make that shift, then if you want to redesign your career or your life, that's how it happens, that you first shift your identity and then you create habits around that so that you can do well in your career and do well in your life. The most important thing is, if what we shared in the first session and what we shared in today's session, if that has made sense to you, if you feel it was really very interesting, then please work on this, because it's really helped us so much, and we are growing every single day because we are following these small little things. These small little shifts bring a huge reward later. Like 11 years later, I feel I'm more energetic, more younger, more physically, mentally, emotionally strong. If you want to be like that, then follow these small little tips that we shared in the first and in today's session. And I would recommend you to go and buy the book and really study it in details, because we've just picked up a few things, the gist of the book, but the book has a lot more. Pick it up, and believe me, it will help you become a better employee, a better leader, a better family man, professionally and personally, both ways. You will succeed in a much bigger way if you start following that book. So that's it from both of us.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, and see you again. Have a great weekend, and see you again on next Friday on How to ace your career. Bye bye.